There's a white window envelope lying on the doormat. You know without looking what it will contain. A document demanding money. A payment must be made. It's for energy or services you have consumed over the last few months. Most of us accept this as part of life. You use the energy, you feel the warmth, you pay the bill. It is an eternal cycle. But is there any escape? Must it always be this way? Literature is full of people who say no. The people who boldly stand in defiance to the norm and declare their non-compliance. Tyler Durden rejected consumerism, his own identity, and then built an underground anarchist combat cult. Reginald Perrin faked his own death by walking into the sea to escape the drudgery of 1970s Britain. The Buddha, he renounced his material ties in order to find true spiritual bliss. But what about Richard Vobes? How will he disobey? Well, not for him wrestling, a disappearance, or even a wilderness journey of self-discovery. Richard's defiance was far more radical. It began by cancelling his direct debit to Southern Water.
So I thought, right, I shut off the direct debit, wrote to the bank, said to the bank, no thank you, turn that direct debit off. Well, within 3 days, I got a bit of paper from my water company going, well, I notice you've turned off your direct debit. You owe us now the whole year in one lump. And I thought, right, okay, do you know what? I'll pay it, but I'll pay it with my Sesticave trust.
The sovereign citizen movement presents itself as a struggle for freedom, autonomy, and the reclamation of rights. In reality, it's something far simpler, a rejection of responsibility, an attempt to reap the benefits of a functioning society without having to contribute to it. If you don't like paying for your utility bills, your taxes, or your loans, this movement offers you the perfect excuse. It tells you that you can take what you want, but you never have to give back. It's the adolescent fantasy of nihilist oblivion that Tyler Durden offers in Fight Club. On the surface, his philosophy is about rejecting materialism, tearing down institutions, and exposing the illusion of control. But underneath all that rhetoric, what is Tyler really doing? It's pure escapism, to escape their jobs, their obligations, and their own identities. The destruction of the system, though, is just a pretext. The real goal is liberation from personal consequences. And when Richard talks about freedom and responsibility, what he really means is freedom from paying bills and other people's responsibility to keep serving him.
So I got the billy-do that came in because it was a bill, and I said, I'll accept this bill, this offer as money, as pound sterling, and now you take it back and settle the account. And I signed it in a specific way. We'll have a look at that in a second.
This is like Quake's no-clip mode. It's a financial cheat code that won't allow Richard to phase through walls, but it will compel somebody else to pay for literally everything that Richard consumes. Even Vobes, who is an ardent believer in many kinds of nonsense, must have hesitated for a moment, because could it really be this easy? Had he alone outwitted the entire financial system with nothing but a blue biro? Richard's life experience as a mostly out-of-work actor has taught him that money was carefully guarded. People did everything they could to keep it for themselves and certainly not to give it to him. Vobes was never a fan of working hard, but he knew that even avid fans expected him to do something in order to earn his money. But this seemed different. If this worked, then society, employment, and work, they'd all been needlessly complicated scams. And he reasoned that if the water company had stopped chasing him for money, then maybe he was onto something. Maybe he wasn't just some kind of deadbeat guy who forgot to pay his water bill. Maybe he was one of the first to see through the facade. Had Richard discovered a free money supply? The only way to know was to push further. If this trick worked on a water bill, then why not apply it to electricity, council tax, and anybody who demanded money from him. This isn't being selfish, he reminded himself. This is for science.
And I thought, well, I'm blowed. It bloody well worked, and I will do the same on this. And I should probably do the same with my electricity and all other bills. And to be honest with you, I am experimenting with a number of other bills, and I'm waiting to see if they work. And I won't say anything if they until they do, until they work. And I can categorically say to you, this works. Now, your water company may be different to my water company and may not accept it. I'm not saying.
Richard has now fully committed to this experiment. What began as words scribbled on an invoice has, in his mind, transformed into a rigorous scientific research program. Initial results are positive. If it worked once, then could it work again? Is this a pattern or is this anomaly? And what are the limits of this new discovery? What is the underlying mechanism? Could it be used to pay any kind of bill, electricity, parking fines, council tax? Could any demand for money be transmuted from debt to credit with just a few strokes of blue ink? And that's when he spots it. The code. It's been hiding in plain sight this whole time. Every bill has one, a unique number, or perhaps a barcode. Could this be the key to unlocking the secret of this infinite funding glitch?
What did I do? Here is an example. Let's have a look. The bill comes in. Now, if the bill has, as you can see down the bottom here, a barcode, and often it'll come in as a gyro, as it did with mine, and it has a barcode, that is the number that accesses the Sestigrevet Trust, you see.
The barcode isn't just a random number. It's a hidden invitation to a secret financial world, one that ordinary people can never see. This isn't just a loophole, it's proof that everything Richard Vobes thought he knew about money was a lie. And what kind of man, having glimpsed this truth, would just go back to paying his bills? Richard wasn't merely a man trying to pay a bill anyway. He was a pioneer, an explorer of arcane financial dimensions. He could see parallel worlds beyond the grasp of common muggles. This isn't just testing an idea. He is demonstrating mastery. You're a wizard, Richard.
And what you do is you write on it in blue here, as you can see. So in other words, it says this bill offer is accepted as money for the, in this case, dollar amount. I put pound sterling shown here, and an arrow goes to the amount that they're asking for. In this case, it's some 5,000. Is it, what is it? £864.
This has become a ritual. The wording, the placement, even the colour of the ink, everything matters. Richard doesn't yet know why. But it doesn't seem like such a strange idea to him, because words have power, he tells himself. Would the Lord's Prayer have the same potency if we begged the Lord to forgive our gas bills or deliver us from bailiffs? This is not just a transaction, it's ceremonial and liturgical. Blue ink, specifically, is what gives his words power. Why blue? Nobody knows. But the only thing that matters right now is that it works. He's about to have it all. He is victorious, and he intends to win graciously, honourably.
Then you sign yours honourably, because you want to be honourable, the equitable beneficial named estate trust title holder. And you sign and you say without prejudice. Now, that.
But just as Richard thought that he had this whole thing figured out, something completely unexpected happened. It stopped working. The company simply said no. The rejection was perfunctory, unceremonious, disrespectful, and incomprehensible. They laughed in his face. It was as if to say that Richard Vobes is nothing but a delusional criminal who is attempting to tender worthless scrap paper as a bogus payment for the goods, energy, and services that he had already consumed.
So when I did the next one, they said, no, we don't accept this. This isn't payment. Go away, you silly man. And I said, well, I will go away and I'll pay it another way if you send me back the original financial instrument.
And just like that, with the casual press of a button, some anonymous office drone just rejected Richard's payment. And did that person even reflect for 1 second on the precise meaning of the handwritten note that Richard provided? It explained that the entire balance could be debited from Richard's secret Cesta QV trust. That is a fund that had been established the moment his birth certificate was signed, but for some unstated reason, kept secret from everyone. And did the Jobsworth factotum even bother watching any of the informative Sovereign Citizen videos, a series of carefully selected videos on Rumble and BitChute that had been made by sensible researchers like Sovereign Pete and Mark Kishon Christopher, those videos that explained the origins and secrets of the free money supply? Of course they didn't. This person operated at far too low a vibrational frequency. They didn't know what Richard Vobes knows. Richard understands that objects are not always what they appear to be. A communion wafer might be the body of Christ, despite appearing to be just a cookie. A heavily inked invoice might appear to be scrap paper, but perhaps the true mystery is the transformation you cannot see. And unlike Richard, the utility company cannot have it both ways. They can't reject his payment, but simultaneously keep it for themselves.
And that's why I kept saying, I'm happy to pay. And I did this with the council tax and HMRC. And I did exactly the same. And they're doing the same. And I'm just saying, look, I'm not saying I'm not paying. Just give me the financial instrument.
If Tyler Durden can make soap from human fat, then why can't Richard Vobes create his own money from scrap paper? But just as Richard's rebellious confidence reached its apex, something in his delivery shifted. Where once we heard only bravado, we now hear a clear undertone of panic. What ended this defiant overconfidence? How did the light that burnt so brightly suddenly burn so pale?
Hello and welcome to this rather special and somewhat urgent video that I just want to put out there. The other day we had a gentleman on who produced a video with me about promissory notes, and he said that we can write our own, and he gave an example of his.
He's telling everyone to do their own research. That certainty we once heard, it's gone, and it's been replaced with hedging and disclaimers.
And because I think people have got to do their own due diligence and not immediately jump on what any of the guests on this show or any other show say.
Richard's sudden caution isn't just a passing moment, it's a turning point. He started this journey as a self-assured guide, revealing hidden financial truths to a rapt audience. But now he's pushing them away. He's telling them that all the financial advice he once gave wasn't really advice at all. There's no more bold declaration. It's gone, replaced with hesitation and vague warnings. He's stopped telling people to fight the system. Quite the opposite. He's telling people to be careful. Don't play with fire. Don't get in trouble. And if you do, don't say you got the idea from me. And yet, rather than admitting outright that his earlier claims were nonsense, Richard takes the classic conspiracy theorist exit strategy. He urges his audience to think for themselves. And if the method works, that's on them. And if it doesn't, well, it's also on them. Richard is telling us that he wants the benefits of being an important thinker within the sovereign citizen movement, but he doesn't want to own the consequences. He doesn't want the responsibility for his own words. And isn't that the perfect expression of the sovereign citizen philosophy?
Thank you so much. I just wanted to put this out in case you have written any of these, and before you manage to send them anywhere, just to take caution. And I appreciate you watching and taking on board these points.
The rebel has been chastised. His zeal and energy has drained away, replaced with something unfamiliar. Doubt. Why didn't the blue ink work? Were the barcodes a red herring? Was he fooling himself this entire time? Like an addict at the end of an opium binge, he is twitching and shattered. The walls are closing in. The wolf is at the door. The system hungers. The debt lingers. And the letters keep piling up. Richard is left with only one option, the final escape,